Hello, this is Mr. Stein, and in this video we are going to go over the questions from Mastery Items Week 12B. Question number 1. Simplify the following exponents. So we want to apply the exponent laws here. Letter A. Inside of our parentheses is all multiplication. So we can just do a power raised to a power. When we do a power raised to the power, this power outside here is going to be multiplied to each of the powers inside. So we do m to the 2 times 4, which is 8, and n to the 1/2 times 4, which is 2. And that is as simple as it gets. Letter B, we have a fraction. Now, one of the important things to check here is, are all of our exponents positive? All of our exponents are positive. That makes this a little easier to work with. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cross off. Okay, well, 20 and 4. If we divide that by 4, we get 1, and 20 becomes 5. So we get 5 over 1. Now we have 4 x's on the top and 1 x on the bottom. We cross that 1 x off, and we cross off one of those x's. We're just left with x cubed on top. I'm just going to get rid of some of my scribbles here. Now we look at the y's. We have 2 y's on the bottom and 3 y's on the top. These 2 y's will cancel out 2 of these 3 y's, and we'll be left with y to the power 1 on top. So we're left with 5 times x to the power 3 times y to the power 1 over 1, which is just 5 x to the power of 3 times y to the power of 1. We just simplified by crossing off common factors in the numerator and denominator. Question number 2. Use the following function, g of x equals negative 2x plus 5. Determine the following. Determine the value of the function g when x is 0.5. So, I determine the value of my function g when x is 0.5 by putting 0.5 in for x into the function. So negative 2 times 0.5 is negative 1, plus 5 is equal to 4. So this would mean that on a graph, we would have our point at 0.5 on the x and 4 on the y-axis. This would be a point on the graph right here. Now in the second one, we know the value of the function. We want to figure out what x value will give us that. So I'm going to write out my function here. G of x is equal to negative 2x plus 5. Now, I can take this g of x and replace it with 20, because that's what g of x equals. So 20 is equal to negative 2x plus 5. Subtract 5, subtract 5. Negative 2x is equal to 15. Divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2. X is equal to negative 15 over 2. Now this means that we will have a point when our function value is 20, our y value is 20, our x value will be negative 15 over 2, which is negative 7.5. So this will be a point on our graph. The 20 is the y value, and we just figured out the x value for it. All right, number 3. Determine the x-intercept for each of the following linear functions. Remember, the x-intercept is where the graph will cross the x-axis, and y equals 0 at the x-intercept. So, to determine our x-intercept, we take y and we make it equal 0. So in this function, we get 0 is equal to negative 10x minus 810. 810 is equal to negative 10x. I add 810 to both sides. Divide both sides by negative 10. And I get x is equal to negative 81. So our y-intercept is, our x-intercept, sorry, is when y is equal to 0, and x is equal to negative 81. That is the point negative 81, comma 0. That is the y-intercept. Letter B. Substitute 0 in for y to determine the x-intercept. So our x-intercept, to determine it, will be at where y is equal to 0. 2x minus 15 times 0 is equal to 9. This guy here just all goes to 0. Negative 15 times 0 is 0. So we get 2x is equal to 9. Divide both sides by 2, and x is equal to 9 over 2. I'm leaving that as a fraction. You can write it as 4.5. So x is equal to 9 divided by 2. So our x-intercept is at the point 9 over 2, or 4.5, on the x-axis, 0 on the y-axis. If you wanted to find the y-intercept, you just put 0 in for x and solve it that way. All right, I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below.